Now let's talk about what's really going on in Iraq right now. Citizens in the central parts of the country are growing increasingly frustrated. Many are on the verge of open rebellion, threatening to burn down government buildings, much like what happened during the Maliki era. The anger is fueled by years of broken promises and worsening living conditions. While government officials continue to delay progress and find new ways to enrich themselves, every day people are suffering, living in poverty, without access to reliable services or economic opportunity. It's clear that the situation is far from stable or secure, and saying otherwise only shows a lack of understanding of the real issues on the ground. What makes the situation even worse is the loss of trust in government leaders, especially the Prime Minister and those responsible for economic reform. One of the major issues causing unrest is the continued delay and lack of transparency around the Delete the Zeros program and the potential revaluation of the Iraqi dinar. Officials have refused to clearly define what delete the zeros even means, and this ambiguity has only added to public frustration. People want answers, but they're getting silence or vague promises. To make things more complicated, Iraq finds itself caught in a difficult geopolitical position, stuck between pressure from neighboring Iran and demands from the United States. This has had direct consequences on the country's currency and financial system. The U.S. Treasury has recently slowed down the transfer of U.S. dollars to Iraq due to concerns that the country is not complying with international banking standards. These global standards are designed to track the movement of U.S. dollars and ensure that they do not end up in the hands of sanctioned countries like Iran or Syria. The fact that these transfers are being delayed is a big deal. It signals that the U.S. government is very serious about maintaining control over the distribution of its currency and stopping misuse. This brings us to the topic of the new IQD contract rate. If you've been following currency news, you've probably heard whispers about it. But what if I told you that this new rate could potentially change your financial future? Imagine holding a currency that almost overnight increases dramatically in value. It might sound unbelievable at first, but there's a growing discussion about the possibility of the IQD seeing a significant revaluation. So what exactly is the IQD? It stands for the Iraqi Dinar, which is Iraq's official currency. For many years, it's been considered undervalued, largely due to the country's political instability, war, and economic troubles. However, Iraq is starting to show signs of recovery, with increasing oil production and rising foreign investments. These developments have led many to believe that the dinar may finally appreciate in value. The term contract rate refers to a potential new value at which the dinar could be exchanged, possibly under certain agreements or limited circumstances. While we don't have official confirmation of the exact numbers, some speculation points to values as high as $3 per dinar. To put that into perspective, if you're holding 10,000 IQD and the rate changes to $3 per note, your holdings could go from being worth a few $100s to as much as $30,000. That's the kind of return that grabs attention, and for good reason. Still, it's crucial not to get swept up in the hype. Speculative information should never be taken at face value. Make sure to verify what you hear with credible sources. Always cross-check with updated financial websites, news networks, and professional analysts. Currency exchange rates are impacted by a wide range of factors: economic policy, political shifts, international trade, and even global crises. Several factors could influence whether the IQD revaluation actually happens. First and foremost is political stability. If Iraq continues to improve security and governance, foreign investors may be more willing to re-engage with the economy, which would help strengthen the dinar. Oil exports also play a huge role. As global oil prices go up, Iraq earns more revenue, which gives the country a stronger financial base to support a higher currency value. Lastly, international relations matter. If Iraq manages to maintain stronger ties with powerful nations, especially those willing to invest or offer trade deals, that could open the door to currency reform and broader economic growth. If you're serious about staying on top of these developments, it's important to follow financial news consistently. Subscribe to YouTube channels that specialize in currency and investment. Join online forums where people discuss global economics and exchange experiences. The more you learn, the better decisions you'll make. Let's also clear up a few common questions people have about the IQD. Can you exchange it easily? In many cases, yes, but it depends on your location, the policies of local currency dealers, and whether international banks are willing to process the transaction. Always make sure you're dealing with a legitimate and trustworthy source. Another question is, what should you do if you're holding a large amount of dinar? The smart move is to consult with a financial advisor. They can help you create a plan that minimizes risk and maximizes potential gain. And don't forget about taxes. Currency trades are considered taxable in many countries. Check the regulations in your area to ensure you're not caught. Now let's explain a key concept that confuses a lot of people. The difference between nominal value and real value. Nominal value is the number printed on the note. For example, a 25,000 dinar note appears to be worth a lot, but that doesn't mean you can actually exchange it for that amount in US dollars. Currently, the exchange rate for the dinar is around $0.00076. So if you multiply that by 25,000, you get about $19. Despite the high number on the bill, its real-world value is much lower. Some people talk about Iraq removing zeros from the currency as part of a reform plan. This would mean turning a 25,000 dinar note into a 25 dinar note by simply eliminating 3 zeros. But this doesn't mean your money becomes more valuable. If the exchange rate stays the same, then 25 dinar still equals around $19. The nominal figure has changed, but the buying power remains the same. This is why it's so important not to confuse face value with actual worth. Understanding this difference can help you avoid costly mistakes. Imagine walking into a store where everything looks cheaper just because the currency was redenominated. If prices change in line with the new notes, your purchasing power hasn't actually improved. This is why it's critical to look at the bigger picture. Economic growth, inflation, unemployment, international trade. These are the real drivers of value. For investors both in and outside of Iraq, it's important to remember that a currency reform or revaluation only leads to real profit when it's backed by strong economic fundamentals. Otherwise, you're just dealing with numbers that look good on paper but don't translate to financial gain. It's like painting a house that has structural issues. Surface changes won't fix what's underneath. If you're thinking about investing in the Iraqi dinar or any foreign currency, do your due diligence. Watch for signs of progress or setbacks in Iraq's economy. Monitor news from the IMF, World Bank, and other global institutions. Stay informed on oil prices, government policy, and regional stability. All of these factors will help you determine whether your investment is smart or simply speculative. Gathering financial knowledge is just as important as acquiring financial assets. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Are you currently holding any IQD? What are your thoughts on the new contract rate? Let's start a conversation. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future updates on currency and investment news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.